Good morning, DirtFish Rally friends. David, what time is it?
It's too early, Colin.
It's way too early. It's just after 5 o'clock Friday morning. 5 o'clock UK time, Friday morning.
7 o'clock.
Are we the only people in M-Sport at this time in the morning?
No, of course not.
Well, we just about are. There's a security guard.
A security man.
There's no one to make me a cup of coffee.
There's people working on the secret
2022
the
secret
car
project. But it is early, but it's never too early.
When
we've got a day of... It's never too early, David, when we have a day of rallying in front of us. And we've only got an hour and a little bit. 6:09, did you say, 6:09 UK time?
8:09 local,
6:09 UK time is when the first stage proper, stage 2 of the rally goes live. What a day we have in front of us, David. There is so much unknown about today, but what we do know, 134 Ks, 6 stages, 67-kilometre loop. It could be the most challenging 67-kilometre loop we have seen in many, many years.
Well, I think it's bound to be, isn't it? You know, we've had Sardinia, we've had Turkey.
Can we just stop there? Do you want a little injection of coffee, David? Would that help? Would that help?
I've only had one.
You only had one? Right.
There's very little, Colin, in life that Sebastian Loeb and I share. It is a love of coffee in the morning, first thing, and Sebastian Loeb needed 3 or 4 or 5 or 6
so you're forgiven.
To get him
ready.
You're
forgiven. Go ahead.
I only had one.
I rudely interrupted.
Of course, it is going to be a very, very tough day. Tougher than anything we've seen in the championship in 19 years. There are sections of Sardinia, there are sections of Turkey, Cyprus, Greece, that have been like it, but I think the drivers are discovering really what Africa is all about. And you know, there's been this debate, hasn't there? Is this a real safari? It's not. We will perhaps take this debate up later. It's not, for me, a true safari rally. There are sections of this which are absolutely pucker Africa, genuine. You know, when you're down into first gear, picking your way across the rocks, trying to struggle through the fesh, it's incredible. It's what this rally is all about. We just don't have enough of it for my liking.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
and you know what I do like? I do like the use of the word pucker.
Really?
It's a certainly kind of Englishy word, isn't it? But not a posh English, it's a proper Englishy word. Listen, folks, obviously Dave and I are speculating a little bit as to the conditions. One man who is on the ground, he's been looking at the stages, who can give us an up-to-the-minute report on what the weather might do today, as well as what the conditions are like out there. It's George Donaldson. Let's hear from George Donaldson, who is on the ground in Naivasha.
Good morning from Naivasha, from the Safari Rally, Kenya. Finally, it starts again. 19 years, this is the first proper section that we're going into now. There's not been a drop of rain overnight. It is gorgeous out here, not a breath of wind, that's fairly normal, but absolutely not a cloud in the sky. The other aspect forecast today is dust. There'll be lots of it, with a side order of humility. These stages are going to be amazing. They're going to be much rougher than my predictions were when I drove through, because the surface, which I thought was going to be solid, well, I wasn't sure, but it has in fact apparently broken up through the recce. So a little bit rougher than we predicted, but still high speed places. Not on the first stage, but the second stage, high speed places. A little bit more fesh, the volcanic dust than I thought there was apparently after the recce. But let's see what it brings. It's going to be an amazing day here. Before the start of stage 3, and I mentioned earlier about the powder in these stages, so I'm going to show you what it's like, and it is so fine you can get an idea. Going down at my shoe, look at that. It can be a foot deep. It's not a foot deep here. There are a couple of potholes, I'm not going to go and stand in them, but look at that. It is just the finest volcanic dust. It is just absolute wicked stuff, like cement dust basically, and it can be very deep. Look at my footprints there. So there are areas of this, and the problem with this is this dust backfills any potholes, and it'll just look like this. There are a couple in here, I did find them when I drove through it, where the car just goes in, but the dust backfills it and leaves these trace marks. It's beyond belief. So very, very hard to see any hazards. So interesting little feature of this stage.
David, it does look as if it's going to be a relatively benign day then in terms of weather, but there is nothing benign about those stages that George showed us. For me, the biggest challenge here this morning is going to be managing the rhythm, because at times they'll be flat out, at other times they'll be down to first gear, and having them, the the mental mindset to be able to deal with that while looking after your car, not getting carried away, not getting frustrated, showing real patience out there. That is the challenge.
It is, and specifically that's the challenge on the first and the third stage, Chewy Lodge and Azarian. Those stages are really close together geographically, similar in nature. And there is, there's, I think in the first one, from what we understand, there's 3 distinct rhythm changes. But how exciting. We know that they're going to go off the line into a square corner, 150 meters, and then they go into the trees, into the bush on that first day. It's incredible. And then, it really is a journey into the unknown for them. The second stage, though, Kedong, probably one of the quickest of the whole route, and brings out that other aspect of safari, that you have got to have the ability to commit the car at absolute top speed. Back in the day when Safari Rally was Safari Rally, Colin, the Toyota Celica, the twin cam turbo known as the Whistling Pig, was geared to 160 miles an hour for these kind of really quick sections.
240? It's 240. 240 kilometers an hour. That is remarkable.
A huge amount. And you remember that car. There wasn't a lot of air on that car as well, so pretty lively. But yeah, these where you've got to really commit. And this is going to be the fascinating bit, because a lot of these straights you are super quick down on. But I don't know, particularly the cars running further back on the road. What's happened to the road? How has the road evolved? It's that for me, the running order today is crucial. We don't know. We've got no idea if Sébastien Ogier is in the right place, the wrong place. What's going to happen? What's going to happen with the dust? How long is the dust going to hang in the trees? Particularly on that first stage in Chewy Lodge when they turn. I can't remember for the life of me. Is it left?
Yeah,
it's a left,
tell you
a
little
square
story
left.
about that. Yeah.
So when they go into the trees, they'll carry a huge amount of dust in there. Would it sit in there? Because this is the other aspect of that stage
Early
in particular.
morning, it could.
It could, and
Really
there's
could.
so many rocks. The road down there is pretty narrow, and there's so many rocks at the side of the road. You're only going to have to drift slightly offline, and bang, you've taken the wheel off, and you're out.
I think we're going to see drama in this opening stage. That section that David so well described there, George sent me a video of that on Sunday night, and I phoned him immediately and said, George, are you sure? Are you sure this is the stage? That
That's
doesn't
incredible.
Look like... And he went, yeah, I'm sure it is. It is incredible. Folks, we don't have to wait too long now. Do you want to give us a little prediction, David? I think we'll see drama at the end of the fight. Is it possible to predict?
I think the only thing you can predict is that there is going to be issues. There has to be, because it is such a difficult, and it's such, you talked a lot about the rhythm. It's so difficult for these drivers who are not used to really changing the rhythm that they're driving at. We have so many who've come off Sardinia. Okay, there were bits of Sardinia that were tricky. We come from Portugal. It's pretty much flat out on these events. It's been a lot of years since we've had a Cyprus or a Greece or a Safari. So there's lots coming.
I'm getting so excited. David, now, normally at this point we would ask you to tell us a story, but it's a little too early. You've got pages in it. You've got pages, but we're not going to ask for a David story. Do you want to save one till later?
Well, let's get a coffee, shall we, instead?
I think it's time for a coffee. Folks, you should have time as well to get yourself a cup of tea, get yourself
Not
a
long,
coffee.
no.
David's off to make the bacon sandwiches. Not long to wait till the most hotly anticipated loop of stages in many, many years. We will be staying here at M Sports. George is on the ground. As things develop throughout the course of the day, we'll be here to bring you all the news, all the action, all the analysis from David Evans, the scribe of the WRC, folks.
The sleepy scribe right now.
We'll get him some coffee, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us at dirtfish.com. Stay with us for the whole weekend.